Happy New Year, my friends! Time flies and it's already a year since we saw the very polarizing PNSO T-Rex. And speaking of flying, I thought I'd go back to my roots and welcome the new year with a spectacular dragon. Now last year I managed to get one of my dinosaur holy grails, this beautiful Stygimoloch family by Han Xiao. Well, this year, let me show you one of my holy grails for dragons, this creator's model Kushala Daora from the Monster Hunter universe. Kushala is another elder dragon. Not all of Monster Hunter's elder dragons hit the mark for me, but Kushala does, and I think she deserves a creator's model. And right off, you can see it's spectacular. The Kushala Daora is a metallic dragon, which makes it almost impervious to weapons, but due to its metallic nature, it grows rusty over time, and then there comes a time when it must shed its skin. And this model actually comes in 3 color variants to represent each stage. There's the rusted stage, very nice. Now after shedding its skin, Kushala's skin is white at first, so there's a white variant. And finally, it grows into its metallic grey, which is this variant. I've actually hunted for this because as nice as the rusted one is, I preferred this color. So let's have a look. This really is one of those models where you have to take in the color and detail together, because these two qualities are so closely interwoven that we can't admire the detail without marveling at how complex the paint tab is. Now first, let's look at the head. Like many dragons, it's respectably spiky with all this detail, but look at how different parts, even within a small area, are colored differently. The horns are this kind of silver, and the snout a gold. The mandible is gold too, but then it transitions into the major dark theme of this dragon. From the side, just look at that fade in these horns. The mix in the face, and through all this you see the tiny eyes shining through in a contrasting bright blue. I don't have the words to describe the artistry of the work and do it justice, but as we move regionally, you'll see how subtle the layers and the interplay of colors are. Just the way they mix the black, the bronze, the brown. It's just complex, really complex. And you'll see this in the rest of the animal. Moving down, you can see that the design itself isn't simple. You have multiple rows of overlapping plates. And then down the chest, you see how they take on a very ribcage-like appearance. And going back up here, you see this it's like a separate tendon or muscle bundle covered by this armor. The next highlight are the wings, and the scalation here is, again, I keep overusing that word, very complex. It's very cracked, shale-like, almost ancient appearance in the wing. Now just look at the relief here. There's no immediately discernible repeating pattern in the membrane, other than these parallel, almost terrace-like design. On the inside, however, the pattern is much clearer. You notice how these stretch across the membrane from wing finger to wing finger. But there's an over-governing pattern here, stretching across, almost like a spider's web. And needless to say, the appearance is enhanced by the paint application. The whole thing is just extremely aesthetically pleasing. Now praise really needs to be given for how they've handled the metallic nature of the dragon. Now often, having metallic paint allows taking the easier way out of just 1 or 2 metallic paint layers. To see an example of this little forest dragon, which I am fond of, is essentially just one flat color. But because it's metallic, just moving it creates an interplay of reflection and shadow. This almost gives metallic painted figures a free pass. Now, this isn't an apples-to-apples comparison, but if you now look at Kushala here, with a metallic sheen and a complex paint job, you just get a myriad more subtlety. I really can't sing the praises of this paint job enough. To finish off, we'll look at the legs, the front. Again, look at all that color. And the back. There are these elbow and knee spikes, which are often depicted in dragons, and they look great but would never work in real life. Now, while this is true here in the knees with the spike coming out the center, in the elbow these spikes are actually laterally off-center, so it might actually work here, since it allows for space for the triceps tendon to attach to the olecranon. As for the base, many dioramas are really just a base you stick a figure on, which enhances a scene, but usually could equally be done without. Not so in this case. The base here is an integral part of the scene it depicts, Kushala having shedded skin. It was a really clever decision, giving this scene a uniqueness you don't get in other dragons. I think a quick once-over will easily display all that texture, which alone casts shadow. And again, that might have allowed a lazy paint application, but that shortcut isn't taken. You can see how it's got different washes, creating subtle blends throughout. They've even colored the inside here, against which the new skin rested, with the same color, which makes perfect sense to me. And now the pose. Like an eagle perched on its eyrie, the pose has an overwhelming sense of majesty, which contrasts with the daintiness of this hand pose just off the surface here. I like to think of this Kushala as a female, poised and elegant, yet very, very dangerous. I love the S-curve of the neck as it looks down here, with this asymmetric tilt of the head. And while spread wings are often a little cliché, in this case they make perfect sense, the same way a butterfly rests after emerging from its chrysalis before flying off. I can imagine it conducting a relaxed flexing trial of its wings, like a casual shrug, and I really like the sense of calm here, which has an attractiveness that's different from the attractiveness of a dramatic pose, such as you see in the Rathalos here. All in all, this really is one of the best dragons I've ever had, and I consider this my holy grail of the Monster Hunter creator models. This is what a good model should be. In terms of design, sculpt, paint tabs, you really want it all when you're paying for a more expensive piece, and here I can honestly say I've got it. And if you are mainly a dinosaur fan, I think you can't help but also agree how magnificent this dragon really is. So that's it for my New Year video. What a way to usher in 2022. I hope you guys had a great New Year celebration with friends and family and other loved ones. I'll see you soon with another review. Happy New Year, guys!